Hello and welcome back to Mark's House and Garden UK. I'm down by the wildlife pond looking for signs of spring, and I found something. Now this is going to be an interesting video. I don't know if you remember, but about this time last year, possibly slightly later, maybe around May, I planted some snake's head fritillary plants. Not bulbs, plants. I bought them in the reduced section from a garden centre because they'd already finished flowering, and I planted them by the water's edge here, and the idea was that this year they will come up because they had already flowered and started to go over. I decided to try an experiment where I harvested the seeds. So I wrapped those seed heads in a little bit of horticultural fleece. Then I completely forgotten I'd done it. And it was only this morning when I was having a wander around looking for signs of spring did I notice those two little parcels. Actually, I think there were four, but I can only find two. Two little parcels of seeds here. So I had a closer look and I found something really quite fascinating. I've got them in my hands here, and let me bring them closer to the camera. You can see they're a bit green and damp. Everything's green in this corner at the moment, including me. But let's have a closer look at this. Can you see there? Let me hold it up against my sleeve. Little roots, tiny little roots coming out of that little horticultural fleece. Can't see any on the other. That's a piece of grass, I think, that's just got nicked. But there's probably some in there as well. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take those inside, use my other half's hairdressing scissors to very carefully dissect the bag. And very, very, very gently, I'm going to plant these up. And we're going to get to see if they will grow into snake's head fritillary plants. Now, I do know, because I read on the Gardener's World website, that you're supposed to leave them in pots for a couple of years. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put them in a nice pot. We're just going to leave them and let them grow and develop into true bulbs. And then I'm going to plant them in my lawn so that they can naturalize into my lawn. But first things first, let's get inside. Let's see what's inside these bags and if we can do something with them. Right, so let's get on with it. I'll firstly tell you what I've put together. That's the pot they're going to be planted into. It's terracotta, so it should breathe. I've put a crock in the bottom and I've filled it up to about there with very gritty compost. I've got some fresh compost here, which I'm going to rub over on top once I've planted them. I've got my turkey baster and a jug of water there, because it might be that I can separate them easier with a bit of water. A couple of those meat skewers so that I can tease them apart if I need to, and a black tray so that you can see what comes out. So the next thing I'm going to do, oh, one last thing, really sharp hairdressing scissors. I'm going to bring the camera in close so that you can see what comes out. Now, of course, the reason I'm taking so much care with these is those tiny little thread-like roots, can you see there? And I don't want to do any damage to those, so I'm just going to very, very carefully see if I can cut the string off this end. That's come away quite nicely. That's one done. And we shall do the same on this side here. I think that's a little bit of grass root, but I'm not entirely sure. Let's just see if we can get inside of that one too. Wonderful. So there's the string away. Now let's very, very, very gently open up these little parcels, which hopefully will have germinated seeds inside them. This is the first one where I couldn't see any evidence of germination. So let's just open that up. And I am, and I don't know if you're seeing it, I am seeing evidence of germination. Right there. If I point at it with this meat skewer, can you see that? Just there, there is a seed with a root coming out of it. Let's do the same with the rest of them. They're like little bean sprouts or cress seeds. And again, I don't want to do any damage. These are so gentle. I'm just going to get a bit of water on that and just sort of see if I can sort of tease them apart in the water. So the problem is that's gone slightly through the horticultural fleece. So there we go. Off it comes. There's a nice little batch of seeds. I don't know if I'm going to have enough space in this one pot for all these seeds. I might go away and find some more pots. And out come the second batch. Now this was the batch that was growing through. And look at that, you can see quite clearly there's plenty of root matter there. And plenty of germinated seeds. Right. Plan B, I will be using the terracotta pot that I've already shown you. But I will also be planting some of these into seed trays because there's just too many here, I feel, for that one pot. I am very, very gently here trying to extricate them from that horticultural fleece which they've become embedded in. It's a numbers game with seeds, isn't it? And plants produce far too many seeds, really, and many of them will not make it. There's a bit of root there off that one. It's obviously not going to survive. And that's nature. Some of these will be eaten in the wild by birds or rodents, and a small number, a very small percentage, will actually survive. Right, again, slight rinse of the old fingers. I'm doing it with water because I think it's a more gentle way of doing it. And you can see there, swimming around, quite a few seeds. I'm just counting these very, very roughly, 5, 10, 15, 20. There's got to be 100 seeds there. There's got to be 100 seeds. Isn't that fascinating? I've brought in a little seed tray full of compost, fresh compost. Now, how am I going to plant those? Well, again, as I've already stressed, I think it's really important I don't do any damage to that little tiny root. So I've had an idea. I wonder if I can suck them up using this turkey baster and then sort of squirt them out onto the top of the compost. And then all I'll need to do is just kind of get hold of some compost and just kind of rub it over the top. And then I get a water spray and spray it on to dampen it and water it in. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, obviously, I'm not going to make you sit and watch me do 100 seeds, but I just wanted to show you a few of them so that you get the overall idea. I have increased the exposure on my camera to try and make this a bit lighter so that you can see it. I'm just going to go in with this turkey baster, squeeze the end, and then hopefully soak a few seeds up. And it does work, they are going in. I can see several seeds already. So what I shall do next is I shall distribute them onto the soil. Can you see that one there? Look, just there. All right, let's get a few more. I'm actually going to abandon this idea because whilst it's working, it's not working quickly enough. I think it would work better if the hole was bigger. I'm not in a very patient, mindful mood today, so I'm going to resort to using my fingers incredibly gently. I've got a little wooden skewer and 2 meat skewers, so I will use my fingers and I shall do it very, very gently. I want them to be relatively well dispersed on the top of the surface, and that was kind of plonking 4 or 5 in the same place. Right, let's get on with it. Let's get them planted. I'll see you in a second. So they are now reasonably well distributed, as carefully as possible on the surface of the soil. Whilst I was doing that, I was thinking, do they actually need to be spread out? Because actually, when I was looking at the fritillary plant, the clump of bulbs on the end of the stalk seems to fall down and land in a small area. And actually, when you think about it, when you dig up bluebells or snowdrops or whatever, you do find a little clump of bulbs quite near to each other. So it might be that these don't need to be separated. Well, the reason I'm separating them here is because they are going to be in these pots and they'll have more soil to go at, more nourishment. So the next thing to do now is sprinkle a bit of soil on top and then dampen them in. And you can see now why I put this towel down. Right, let's just get this. You can see I've put them close together so that I'm not making further mess, but I'm really just going to very, very gently crumble compost on top. Not very deep. I mean, these would presumably in the wild just fall on the surface of the ground. Same on the big pot. Just very gently letting it fall by gravity on top, giving it probably no more than a centimetre of coverage. I do need to reach up and find light somehow, so that goes in there like that. That I think is going to do the job. Now I haven't taken any care in pointing these in any particular direction. I'm hoping that the gravity and their inbuilt kind of hardwired nature mechanisms will cause them to go down with those little roots and also reach up for the light. Now I think that is going to do the job. We've got a little tray there, 6, and we have a big pot here, and this big square pot, which is now quite heavy, is going to sit near my tulips, because they're also in a square pot. And the last thing to do is to get some moisture onto them using this garden spray, lukewarm water, and just dampening it down and hoping that the dampness on the soil will cause it to kind of condense down onto the top of the seeds. In any event, these are going back outside in a sheltered position where they will get the rain. There is drainage in these pots, so excess water will drain through. Now, I know you like to see a result, and I know, just like me, people want instant gratification, but unfortunately, I can't give you instant gratification with these seeds just yet. But the minute I see any signs of any growth, I will do a new video and put a link just here on the screen. So you will eventually get to see how these do. The exciting thing about this is I bought 2 plants. I think I spent £1.50 on each plant because they were on the plant sale, because they'd already flowered and it was getting to the end of their flowering season. Imagine if I end up with 100 plants that are each worth £1.50. I've turned, let's say, £3 into £150. Isn't that an exciting prospect? I'll see you soon for some more snakehead fritillary propagation adventures. Bye for now.